Welcome, pilots! This video is part of a series showcasing the use of regular frigates for combat site exploration in EVE Online. If you're a brand new Minmatar pilot looking for PvE combat against NPC pirates, this video is for you. Or if you're a new Amarr, Caldari, or Galent pilot, I've got you covered on this channel as well. If you're a few months into the game and have an Omega clone, you might be interested in my videos on assault frigates. Combat sites can be found on your probe scanner window and are divided into two types. Cosmic anomalies appear in green, and you can warp to them immediately. Cosmic signatures must be scanned down with probes before you can warp to them, and the site will be accessible through an acceleration gate. Brand new pilots start the game with a corvette, the smallest ship available. Within your first hour of play, you'll be looking to get yourself into a frigate. If you haven't yet, I definitely recommend running the career agent missions from both the Enforcer and Explorer divisions. My goal with this series is to show that even a new pilot flying a frigate can find success running combat sites. I'll discuss important skills to train, the weapon systems and ship attributes for Minmatar Frigates, and some of the sites you'll be capable of running as a new pilot. If you stay in Minmatar space, you'll find combat sites against the Angel Cartel. Ready to fit my first ship for combat exploration, I'm now in a nearby trading hub in the system named Dodixie, just west of Minmatar space. While the system named Heck inside of Minmatar space does serve as a trading hub, I find that Dodixie tends to have ships and modules in a more consistent supply. I ran the majority of the career agent missions in the Enforcer division, giving me a free slasher and just enough ISK to buy the modules for it. Because the Angel Cartel tend to hit you with explosive damage, it's to your advantage to rely more on your shields than your armor. So to fly the slasher, you'll want to train one additional skill beyond those you started with by default. This would be Shield Operation, which you'll need to inject and train to level 1. I put together a little skill plan for brand new pilots who want to get straight into running combat sites. I've included it on the ship fitting guide on my website over at RileyEntertainment.com. Solely for the purpose of demonstration for this video, I've held off on training any skills beyond Shield Operation. My Day 1 Explorer fit is a slasher fit with 250mm artillery cannons, an afterburner, and a shield booster. I chose the Metal Level 2 variation of the artillery cannons, due to their low cost on the market. The shield booster is the Enduring variation, to help mitigate its impact on the ship's capacitor. The afterburner is the compact variation, only because fitting the Enduring variation would overextend the ship's CPU. The fit is filled out with a compact capacitor battery to increase how long the shield booster can run, along with a damage control and small shield extender to provide a little extra buffer in case you get into trouble. The second module in the low power slots is a gyro stabilizer, which increases the damage output of all projectile turrets. All projectile weapons must be loaded with projectile ammunition. There are 8 different types of projectile ammunition. They can be organized into 4 groups based on damage type, where each group has 1 high damage choice and 1 high range choice. Since I'll be sticking to fighting against Angel Cartel NPCs, I'll be choosing to go with the fusion and nuclear types. If you are fighting Blood Raiders or Sancha NPCs, you'd want to use EMP and Proton. Against Serpentis, you'd use phase plasma and depleted uranium. And against Charistas, you'd use titanium sabot and carbonized lead. This fit costs a little over $1 million ISK, so it should be within the price range for a brand new pilot. I should mention here that I did buy the artillery cannons in the Heck Trading Hub. At this early stage, you may find you want to shop around, as prices can vary on a module-by-module basis, based on current availability. Once you have all the modules and charges, you can fit the ship and you're ready to go. There are 3 combat anomalies I'll be recommending for new players. The first combat site you'll want to find is the Angel Hideaway, which you'll find all over Minmatar space. Unless you walk away from your computer for a while, even a brand new player will be in no danger of losing their ship here. You'll encounter a few waves of corvettes and frigates. The next site you can try out is the Angel Burrow, which you'll only find in systems with a security status of 0.9 and higher. This is a small step up in difficulty, and the waves will spawn a little further apart. The third site I'll mention is the Angel Refuge. Like the Hideaway, this can be found all over Minmatar space. The presence of destroyer NPCs and a light missile battery make this significantly more challenging. But with your shield and speed tank, you should find this site quite doable with the slasher. The variation with the large cargo rig will be more difficult, as each wave can have up to 6 ships. If you're itching to use your probe launcher, there are 2 combat signatures I can recommend for new players. The first is the Angel Hideout, which you'll find only in systems with a security status of 0.8 and lower. The presence of cruisers can make this site difficult for new players, but like the Refuge, it is still quite doable with the slasher. The second site is the Angel Lookout, also only found in systems with a security status of 0.8 and lower. This is a significant step up in difficulty, as there are quite a few destroyers along with 2 advanced frigates that will hit you with strong target painters. There are 2 other combat signatures I'd like to mention, both found only in systems with a security status of 0.9 or higher. The first is the Minmatar Contracted Biofarm. There are quite a few NPCs in here, but they're all corvettes or weak frigates, so the difficulty is not as high as you might fear. Watch for NPCs or structures with unique names, as they tend to drop special loot called Overseer effects. The second is the Angel Cryocorp mining site. Unfortunately, this site is frequently bugged out, so it's hard to recommend it. If you happen to get lucky like I did, and the first room is not already cleared out, it can be quite lucrative. This site does have a large number of NPCs, but again, most of them are corvettes or weak frigates. The Overseer effects found in these last 2 sites is of a lower value than those from similar sites for other pirate factions. Nevertheless, you can still sell them to certain NPC corporations for a small profit. As you travel through solar systems running combat sites, you'll find the ISK is rolling in from NPC bounties as well as selling any excess items you find. You can use this income to upgrade your slasher to improve your performance in these sites. My Day 3 Explorer fit for the slasher focuses primarily on enhancing damage output by upgrading from 250mm to 280mm artillery cannons. I've also replaced the damage control with a second gyro stabilizer. To achieve this, the fit introduces several engineering rigs. The 2 ancillary current router rigs increase the available power grid, while the processor overclocking rig increases the available CPU. Another way to eventually achieve better fitting options is through skill training. Advanced weapon upgrades reduces the power grid need of all weapon turrets and launchers, but requires weapon upgrades trained to level 4. Or you could train power grid management to level 5. Both of these options take many days worth of skill training. If you make a point of running lots of these sites, eventually something will happen that changes your ability to afford new modules to upgrade your ship. Something along the lines of this Afterburner or Warp Scrambler, both of which dropped in the Angel Refuge. Domination NPCs, or specially named ships or structures, will sometimes randomly drop some extremely high-value items like these. It's actually somewhat rare to have more than one special module drop from a Domination NPC like this, so don't necessarily expect a similar result right away. Not long after this, a small remote shield booster dropped from the Angel Cryocorp mining site. Once you start finding these sort of high-value items, you'll probably be thinking about trying out a new ship. The Minmatar Navy has 2 other regular frigates that are good choices for new players looking to run combat sites. The first is the Rifter, which is a good choice for running combat anomalies. It has no utility high power slot, so you'll have to drop the probe launcher, at least during combat. It does, however, offer 4 low power slots. This example fit requires a coprocessor in one of the low power slots to increase the available CPU. The second ship is the Breacher, which is actually my favorite regular Minmatar frigate. The issue with the Breacher is that it requires training under both the missiles and drones categories before it becomes a viable alternative for running combat sites. The training requirements are actually quite reasonable, however, so it's definitely a good ship to keep in mind. It has bonuses to both light missiles and shield boosters, making it quite suitable for running Angel Cartel combat anomalies. If you don't mind the extra cost and like flying frigates, there's also a special faction frigate called the Republic Fleet Firetail. You can visit the EVE Online section of my website over at RileyEntertainment.com to find all these example new player fits for Minmatar frigates. Now that I hopefully have you making plenty of ISK, you'll probably be thinking about trying out whole new classes of ships. Your next step will probably be the Minmatar destroyer called the Thrasher. The Talwar is another option, but like the Breacher, it requires training under the Missiles category. Followed by a cruiser, such as the Rupture or Stabber. Most combat site explorers eventually end up in special faction cruisers such as the Gila or Orthrus. If you like the idea of sticking with the Minmatar ships, the Cinnabal is another good option. Each new step up in ship class is also a significant step up in cost. Running combat sites is a great way of being able to afford it. So far, I've been recommending the use of artillery cannons rather than autocannons. As you continue to train your gunnery skills, you might find yourself tempted to try out the shorter range but higher DPS autocannons. If you choose to go this route, I recommend training skills like motion prediction, sharpshooter, and trajectory analysis. You'll find that close-range combat requires a much stronger tank. This style of play can definitely be more dangerous, but also more exciting. Autocannons are much more forgiving on your ship's CPU and power grid, so for a ship like the Rifter, you'll be able to fit a medium shield extender or a medium shield booster. There are many more combat sites to explore than those I've mentioned throughout this video. Once you have the ISK to easily replace your ship, I encourage you to fearlessly try them out for yourself. I just recently completed a 13-part video series detailing every Angel Cartel combat site found in high-security Minmatar space. If you ever need a little help running any of these sites, you can check out these videos for full details on what to expect from each encounter. Stay tuned to Riley Entertainment for more EVE Online combat site guides, and smash that like button if you enjoy my content.